Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. We barely got through the political crisis of defections in Maharashtra, but now another crisis is brewing for the opposition Congress in Goa. The party rushed in senior leader Mukul Wasnik to the state today as a rebellion brewed, with speculation that some of the Congress's 11 MLAs would be crossing over to the BJP. The party has in fact accused two of its senior leaders, Michael Lobo and former Chief Minister Digambar Kamat, of conspiring and hobnobbing with the ruling BJP to engineer a split in the Grand Old Party's legislative wing. Mr. Lobo, in fact, has been removed from the post of leader of the opposition in the State Assembly, and the party has moved to disqualify both him and Mr. Kamat as MLAs. Ironically, Lobo and Kamat had made a public pledge against defections ahead of the Assembly polls that happened at the beginning of this year. A wary Congress had made its MLAs take an anti-defection pledge at temples, mosques and churches, followed by a loyalty pledge in front of Rahul Gandhi, a pledge that they would stay loyal to the Congress even after the election. It's actually quite bizarre when you look at it now. Now, this is why, because in 2019, 15 of the party's 17 MLAs left the party and joined the BJP. So obviously, they were once bitten, twice shy. Sources say that at least 5 Congress MLAs at the moment are in touch with the BJP. And as that firefighting goes on, there are bigger questions emerging about the politics of defections and what this means for democracy. Since 2014, the BJP has done this several times, even converting its minority status in a state to a majority through various means, including by engineering defections, while the Congress has been caught napping. Well, joining us straight to our panelists this evening, we have Charan Singh Sapra, or the spokesperson of the Congress Party, Amit Palekar, the president of the Aam Aadmi Party in Goa, Mr. Pramod Acharya, senior journalist joining us from Goa today, psephologist Sanjay Kumar also joining us tonight. Let me ask Mr. Sapra first. Mr. Sapra, what is the situation right now? We are hearing that 5 Congress MLAs have been in touch with the BJP. How worried are you at the moment?
I feel the senior leaders in Goa, Shri Mukul Wasnik, Dinesh Gundurao and the PCC president, they are taking care of the situation, and they have taken a wise decision of recommending the disqualification of Mr. Digambar Kamat and Michael Lobo, who were trying to engineer a defection in Congress legislative party. I feel BJP basically wanted a Maharashtra rerun in Goa, and their Operation Lotus has failed in Goa, and probably, they try to play a politics of carrot and stick. They try to offer a carrot, and if the carrot doesn't work, then probably the stick works. So muscle power, money power and the power of the agencies, which we have seen in Maharashtra or Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh, that is what we are seeing in Goa also. All
right, Mr. Sapra, we have Mr. Dinesh Gundurao, the Congress is in charge for Goa, joining us now on NDTV exclusively this evening. Mr. Rao, thank you for joining us. Can you give us some clarity, Mr. Rao, on how deep the crisis is for your party in Goa at the moment? How many MLAs are with you, and how many are possibly in touch with the BJP?
See, just now we had a CLP meeting, and we had 9 MLAs participating. Of course, those 2 who we have initiated disciplinary action and disqualification action, that is Mr. Digambar Kamat and Mr. Michael Lobo, they were not present. But remaining 9 MLAs all attended the CLP meeting just now. And the BJP was trying for a 2/3 split of the Congress here. And this was being operated by the national leadership of the BJP. And they were wanting to demolish the Congress in Goa and literally have a one-party rule. That was the game plan. So our MLAs stuck together despite huge amounts of pressure, lots of money is being offered, lots of positions being offered, and a lot of inducements. Our MLAs have stuck together, and we have thwarted this attempt to split the Congress party in Goa.
But Mr. Rao, why has this happened, particularly with veteran leaders like Mr. Kamat, who's been a former chief minister? I think he's been an MLA 8 times. Michael Lobo has been a long-standing member of your party. All of you all got the MLAs to take pledges, at mosques and temples and all kinds of religious places before the elections earlier this year. So, what did that amount to?
See, I do not understand, because unfortunately for us, Mr. Digambar Kamat was our former CM. He was literally our CM face in the last election. Unfortunately, I do not know why he has he has done this, and I'm yet to get a reasonable explanation. He is saying he feels humiliated. I do not know how he was humiliated. He is presently the working committee member of the Congress party. And Mr. Michael Lobo, we made him the leader of opposition in spite of him being a recent entry into the party. So, and it is sad to see that, because we have we have about 8 first-time MLAs in the Congress party this time. And they're young people. And they have stuck with the party. And these seniors who have enjoyed so much power are wanting to create, this kind of defections. And this is unfortunate. Either it could be due to some threats, or it could be the lure of positions and power. And maybe some of them are feeling that this is my end of my career. Let me get something good for myself and move on. So the BJP is exploiting this. BJP is using its money power, institutional power, the power of the government, to see that opposition parties, especially the Congress party, is finished. And if you finish the Congress, it's a one-party rule.
But are you sure the crisis in Goa is over? Because you've had this problem before, which is why you got everyone to swear that they're not going to defect, and obviously that didn't mean much for at least these 2 MLAs of yours. But are you sure it's over?
It's not over, because even today in the assembly, the chief minister and the people of ministers in the BJP are still trying to tell our MLAs, come over, we'll give you this, we'll give you that. They're not going to stop, because the hunger for power is so much and the monies that they have is so much.
But they're already in power in Goa, so why do you think they're doing it?
It is that you see, the ultimate aim of the BJP is to see that the Congress is finished in the country. Because you finish the Congress in the country, then you are a single authoritarian party. Because today they captured institutions, they captured the media space, they captured people who speak against them are put to jail, whether it's journalists, whether it's activists, and people are threatened all the time. So this is the kind of situation the country is facing, and this is what BJP wants. And so we have to fight this. And if Congress doesn't fight, then who else is going to fight? And we will fight. And we have thwarted this attempt by BJP. This has been a flop show for the BJP. They tried to induce a 2/3 split. They have failed. But I'm sure they will not stop. I'm sure they will continue their efforts. And we have to fight. And we have to hope we will do our best to defeat this hegemonic force.
Right. All right, Mr. Rao, thanks for joining us. So you're saying that for the moment, the attempts by the BJP, as you put it, have been thwarted, but you're admitting that, it's not, the crisis is not over yet either. We have Mr. PKD Nambiar also joining us. He's a political analyst and a supporter of the BJP. Mr. Nambiar, why is it that the BJP is unable to respect election verdicts given by people? I'm sorry.
Nidhi, that could be a joke. I think it's a political party. A political party which has ruled this country for almost 55 plus years have not been even able to hold on to their MLAs. And जैसे कि हिंदी में कहावत है ना कि खुद का घर संभाल नहीं पा रहा तो दूसरे को दोषी दो. I think it's all about that the Congress incapability, the failure of Congress leadership, and they are not anymore an aspirational figure. So people are definitely looking for a place where they may be. They may feel that this country is safe, or the place where they can be someone and contribute to the democracy or to the country.
But how does this contribute to democracy? By breaking up parties, luring MLAs, threatening them, giving them monetary inducements? Is that respecting democracy or mocking it?
Nidhi, that's an allegation, and I don't expect you to do it. We are talking about
so they're doing it
money.
Out of the goodness of their heart.
But is it anybody can anybody? This is the same thing which most of the media houses was just talking about. The same thing in Maharashtra. They were saying that BJP is luring all the MLAs. Is there any Shiv Sena MLA joined in the BJP? No. Is there even everybody was saying, oh, Devendra Fadnavis is going to be the chief minister? Is Devendra Fadnavis the chief minister?
No, the BJP was an innocent bystander in Maharashtra, and it's an innocent bystander in Goa.
See, I think a political party will always look for an opportunity to become into on its own in power, which is not wrong.
But
And secondly,
the question is, at what cost? Is it okay, Amit Palekar, to do that at any cost? What does that say about the state of our democracy, where
Nidhi,
even
people are
where
only,
the
so you
BJP
mean
has
to
been
say
in a
the Congress
minority?
MLAs are out for fake?
It's not even, it had minority status, and it is converted that into a majority. It happened in Goa before. It's happened in other states.
Nidhi,
Mr. Palekar, this is a question for Mr. Palekar.
As far as
Okay.
BJP is concerned, BJP has killed democracy not just in Goa but other parts of the country. And I believe the co-accused is Congress, because that's how they have been functioning. So we have said it time and again, right before elections also, we were very clear to say that Congress in Goa is a B team of BJP. And they just win on Congress tickets and thereafter they are ready. And July is the month they usually do it. That's when the frogs start jumping, as soon as the rain sets in Goa. So unfortunately, the losers are Goans, and the democracy. My friend has been saying that it's been in a democratic process. I think democratic process has been given leeway or given way by the BJP, taking every opportunity to lure, to threaten. And if we go by Congress leadership, they say that we are susceptible to fear, susceptible to being lured. Then it's unfortunate that we are part of a political scene in Goa, which puts me to shame today to say that the politicians of Goa are bringing shame to Goa and Goans.
But how is the Congress the B team of the BJP if it is the one that is suffering in Goa and elsewhere? On what basis do you say that? I don't think they're enjoying this.
That is what the perception they try to create. But the fact of the matter is that most of the people who have got elected on BJP or on Congress have been somewhere been part of each other's parties. They just jump parties and then
that's true of everybody in Goa, isn't it?
No, that's very unfortunate. That is why I always say that both these parties are co-accused in destroying and killing democracy as far as Goa is concerned, and the entire electorate is left to fend for themselves. And it's very unfortunate for that voter who is voting for them with the perception that they are going to stay loyal to them. And where is Goa's interest then? Where is the interest of Goans here? Here the interest is only of making some money to get into power or feel threatened about it. The fact of the matter is, last 3 months, BJP has been indulging in threatening to Mr. Michael Lobo for the TCP and PDA fiasco that he is entered into.
Okay, Mr. Sabra, I'll let you respond to that in just a moment, but I'd like to get a comment from Mr. Sanjay Kumar and from Mr. Pramod Acharya. Mr. Sanjay Kumar, the bigger point here, though, is that is this healthy for democracy when we see governments and parties, legislature parties being broken the way that they have? I mean, I've cited before where the BJP actually didn't have the numbers and yet ended up forming the government. Of course, the opposition was sleeping. But does that make it right? Whether it's Manipur, Arunachal, Karnataka, all of these examples, does that make it right?
Nidhi, it can't be, good for democracy. How can we even pose this question? Is it leading to a healthy democracy? No, it is not. In different states, we have witnessed defections at different point of time. But I think Goa is a very unique case. Unique case because look at the problem. Since 1989, there have been 30 governments which has got elected in Goa. And 11 out of 30 governments have just lasted less than 1 year. And there are 2 governments which the term lasted for less than 2 years. So, and if we look at all the 30 governments, only 3 governments have lasted for full 5 years term. So look at the situation. I think the problem is there are lots and lots of problems, but typically this becomes a problem for a smaller states because breaking 2/3 MLAs from a political party becomes easier for other party because the size of the MLAs are small. We witnessed this in Goa. We have witnessed this in many northeastern states. Recently, we also witnessed that in Maharashtra, which is not a small state. So this is a problem which is there, which is present in large number of states. It is not healthy for democracy. But I think I'm personally not inclined to blame the party which these MLAs are joining, blaming that party that this is the party which is engineering all the defection. I think the blame also lies on the party of which these MLAs belong. Why are they getting lured so easily? So I think it's a larger question, not about BJP or the Congress.
That is true, Sanjay Kumar, but what do you do in an environment when you see central agencies also being weaponized against the opposition the way that they are? it's not just about money alone, is it?
No, it's not only about money. You did mention about the central agencies, but the central agencies must be having some or the other reason to go after person A or person B. I'm not saying that in every single case it is being misused. Yes, there may be cases where central agencies may be misused to put pressure on these MLAs, elected MLAs, or elected MPs. But there must be some reason for the central agencies to go after a person or MLA or an elected MP. So I think as I said, the problem is much deeper. Yes, it is true that the ruling party is trying to flex muscles, trying to use different weapons to break the MLAs of different the parties which is in opposition. But I'm not in favor of putting all the blame on BJP, which is the ruling party at the center, that this party is engineering defections all over the country. I think the blame also lies with the party of which these MLAs are getting lured and defecting from one party to another.
Right. Let me ask Pramod Acharya, though. Mr. Acharya, as a senior journalist in Goa there, what is happening? I mean, Mr. Gundu Rao admits that, the crisis isn't over, although it may have been thwarted for now. Is that your reading of the situation?
It's a very complicated situation, Nidhi. As you asked some very pertinent questions to Dinesh Gundu Rao. The first thing is, I believe that this entire operation was planned by Congress leaders. You may say that it was by Digambar Kamat or Michael Lobo. It was attempted by Congress leaders. BJP was kind of persuaded to get into this, and rather BJP was lured into getting into this and breaking the 2/3. It was again exposed by Congress leaders. The only official thing that all of us have on record till now is a Congress press conference by the Congress desk in charge saying that their MLAs are walking away. There is not a single statement from the BJP that they are welcoming them. Congress has filed disqualification petition right now against Congress leaders. And as of now, there are 9 Congress MLAs in the CLP meeting, including Michael Lobo's wife. And I am being told just now that Michael Lobo might also join the CLP meeting and try to clear his stand. It all looks like there were sizable amount of Congress MLAs who wanted to jump over to the BJP, did not want to stay with the Congress. BJP got excited and gave a green signal and told them that if you can muster 2/3 number, then you're most welcome. And then the BJP leadership got involved into it. And eventually the Congress leaders were trying to engineer all of this. They could not get 2/3. So it got thwarted.
What a mess. It's
mess.
Amazing how a small state like Goa ends up throwing the most complicated scenario in our face. Let me ask Mr. Sapra though. Mr. Sapra, you wanted to respond to what Amit Palekar was saying earlier. But how much of the blame lies at the Congress's doorstep? Should the party not have been more alert to the problem of defections in Goa in particular, given the trauma you've already faced there before?
No, the party was alert. That's why we have been able to, contain it. As far as the spokesperson of Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, what he was saying, I was thinking that he's giving an election speech because similar speeches were given during the election campaign. And what they got, maybe they got only 1 seat. And as far as the BJP supporter, Mr. Nambiar, was talking, I have a couple of press cuttings over here which add on to my argument that how BJP uses muscle power. Goa government issues notices to hotels owned by leader of opposition Michael Lobo. Here it is. Then FIR against Lobo due illegal and land filling at Para. So these are the 2 press cuttings which show that how BJP is using the muscle power. And also Dinesh Gundu Rao said that they have been using muscle power also. So basically BJP's Operation Lotus has failed. And I would call this not as Satta ki bhook. This is like Satta ki havas, that they want to destroy or distort the democracy just to be in Satta. Whether they want to destroy an opposition party, they want an opposition mukt state somewhere, or they want to rule somewhere. You have given the examples of 2016-17 also. The Arunachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Manipur, Goa, all those examples are there in front of people. And after that, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and now Maharashtra. So in a way, BJP they have a sort of master plan. and they work according to that master plan. They want to distort the democracy, and Congress party is fighting to safeguard the democracy. As far as Goa is concerned, there is another peculiar problem. There is a fight between Pramod Sawant and Vishwajit Rane. Now, Pramod Sawant also wants to prove that he's a bigger BJP leader than Vishwajit Rane. Of course, Vishwajit Rane has gone from Congress party, but out of 40 candidates, 30 candidates were imports of other parties in BJP in the recently concluded election. And Pramod Sawant is facing internal threat also. That's why he tried to engineer this defection in Congress
And
party
all of
so
this,
that
the
he can
voters
get
are
some
the
MLAs.
fools. The voters are the fools who are watching
Of course,
from the
that's
sidelines.
what I'm trying to say. That's what BJP is doing. They are trying to distort the democracy and destroy the
But
democracy.
Amit Palekar, let me ask you,
They are mocking the people.
is the anti-defection law, which was actually brought in to prevent, to prevent this kind of breaking up of parties. So now you have to break 2/3 of a party to not be disqualified from a legislature, right? But people are finding every creative way to circumvent that, and we've seen that across states. So is this anti-defection law a failure? Is it actually anti-democratic?
I think it's high time all the legislators come together to have a proper anti-defection law where not a single person can defect. It is for the people to decide whether they are to go to the other party, and they should face the people. I think, but unfortunately, Goa has become encyclopedia of defections, and I think Goa has taught rest of the country how to defect. And they have found new tricks from the books which they write themselves, and that's how Goa's politics has been functioning. Unfortunately, Congress has been at the forefront, and Congress spokesperson has been saying that I'm giving political speeches. No, certainly not. The dust has long settled on the elections. Now, what you have done is you've proven us right. What you have said before elections is that your MLAs are going to get elected on Congress ticket and are going to defect. They have done that in less than 4 months of time from elections. So who are right? Are our political speeches any wrong?
But people have not trusted Aam Aadmi Party.
Understand this fact, which is going to the polls. The states which are going to the polls.
People have not trusted Aam Aadmi Party. That is also the reality.
Just doing
you
that
haven't
and
got seats.
right.
People
It's
have
not that
not voted for you.
It's just about proving something right, and you have done it yourself. It's not that we have lured them. It's
No, whatever
Mr.
we have
Nambiar
done,
wants to
at
come
least
in. I'm getting quick last comments from everybody.
People have voted for us. People have not voted for Aam Aadmi Party.
Well, Nidhi, I'm very surprised and rather amused that the Congress spokesperson and the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson are just predominantly talking only about BJP. But rather than that, looking at within themselves, that what is wrong within their party, why they are in such a situation wherein they forget about the cadre or the party karyakartas, but even to their own elected MLAs, some of those people who have been the CLP leaders or the former chief minister, they are not even able to hold on to them. So I think rather than criticizing BJP or for that matter to any other party, each party should look at within themselves, look at their own leadership, look at their own leadership. What is the muscle power? If you cannot hold on to
let the BJP stop using that. I have shown you this. Why these views are coming? Why Lobo and his wife are being
Mr. Kamat had given an interview in which very clearly said that I have been humiliated within the party. And what are you talking about? Where is the question of manhandling people or
and you were talking about Maharashtra. I want to investigate
As much as I hate to break up your party, I'm afraid I'm out of time. Let's see whether the Congress crisis in Goa has genuinely been staved off. I think the next couple of days will make that clear. But having been through what we have been through as far as Maharashtra is concerned just now you have Goa. There are bigger questions for Indian democracy here, and respecting the verdict of the people at the end of the day. Thank you very much to all of you for joining us. That's it for the moment. We'll see you after the break.